What is going on, guys? This is iNavingeR, and today I have for you a commentary. And I want to start off by saying this is probably the last time I'll upload for the week. Due to finals week being this week, I have lots of finals to do, lots of studying. I will be in the library probably all the time this week, so I will not have time to upload, so I'm just letting you know in advance I probably will not upload at all this week other than this. And that being said, this video is going to be about finals week and just tips for taking your finals and studying and all that other good stuff. And I am a sophomore in college. This is going to be my third finals week in college, so I feel like I can give you guys some pretty good tips on how to do well. So let's get started. The first one, and it may seem pretty, pretty obvious, is to study. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people think, oh, well, I don't really have to study, I have an A in the class already, I know what I'm doing, I don't need to study. And maybe that's the case, but for most people it's probably not. You're probably going to have to go over stuff you just learned last week even. And if your final is cumulative, which means it covers everything from the entire year, there's going to be stuff at the beginning of the year that you honestly thought you never went over, but you really did. It's just been so long that you haven't looked over it in such a long time. And so that's a big thing. You really just want to take time to study. And while you're studying, take priority in things that are most important. So for example, my accounting final is on Friday, and I'm an accounting major, so that's one of my most important finals. However, it's on Friday, and there's things in front of it, so I want to take priority and study for those more at the beginning of the week, and then study for accounting towards the end of the week. And you just have to prioritize your finals. If you're on the verge of a letter grade, maybe you want to study for that class a little more than, say, a class where you have a solid A or a B, and doing poorly on a final won't take it down necessarily. So that's another just little tip there. You want to make sure you prioritize what you're studying for. And another big thing for finals week is to study well. And most people are different as far as studying goes. They study better if they're in a quiet place, or if they're with friends, or what have you. And personally for me, I study better when I'm with other people that are studying. Now, you can be with other people, and if they're not studying, some people might be able to study with that. But for me, if I'm around people that aren't studying, they're just talking and having a good time, I'm not going to be likely to study. And it won't really be that productive for me personally. Now, for you, maybe you can do that. Maybe you can sit around with people that are just talking and not doing anything and still be productive and get a lot of studying in. And if that's you, then go for it. Be my guest. Do what works for you. Because in the end, that's all that really matters, is that you study well and that you know what you're doing going into the final. And another thing is, make sure that when you're studying, you study what you need to know. So most professors will probably tell you what's going to be on the final. I know all of mine anyway, did a nice big review session the day before, or in our last class. And so I know exactly what I need to study. I know what chapters it's on, if we read any books, like from my intro to literature class, we read a bunch of books, and I know that I have to know certain things out of those books, like plot questions and just stuff like that. So make sure you know what you're supposed to be studying, because there's nothing more frustrating than studying forever for something that you don't actually need to know. And then, because in that way you waste all your time studying for that, plus then you get in there and you don't actually need to know it, and then you're stuck because maybe you didn't study for something that you actually did need to know. So just make sure you know what you're studying, and that's big, that's key. So that's kind of just tips for studying for finals. Now when you actually go in to take your finals, there's a couple of things that really will help you. And the first one is, make sure that you're prepared. And that goes along with studying. I know it sounds obvious, but make sure that you don't go in, excuse me, I'm a little bit sick. Make sure that you don't go into your study or into your final and not know what you're doing. It really brings a set of panic on almost, and it's not good for you to do, and you won't do well if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. Again, it sounds obvious, however, I think it's key to put out there. And the next thing, relax. When you're taking your final, just relax. If you've studied well and you've studied a lot and you know what you're doing, there's no need to be worked up about it. I know personally, my freshman year, when I took my study or my finals for going into a winter break, I was freaking out, and it didn't do me any good, because then I would second guess myself while I was taking the final, and I didn't do well. Let's just say that. And it wasn't just because I was stressing, but I mean, I think that had a big part to do with it. So when you go in there, you get your final, you sit down, just take a deep breath, just know that you know what you're doing, if that makes any sense at all. Know that you studied well, you know the material that the final is going to be on, and you know that you're confident. And that's a big thing, because confidence, if you're confident in what you're doing, it'll make a world of difference, as opposed to going in there and freaking out and second guessing yourself and not doing anything right. And trust me, that's horrible to do. So yeah, guys, just relax when you go in and take your finals. Another thing, and this is kind of out of order, but if you go to college, and I know high schools do finals as well, if you go to college and you have multiple finals on one day, try and get them switched. And I know, like I said, this is out of order. This is kind of before finals take place, but I think it's important, and I forgot to say it. So in my college, if we have 3 on one day, well, if we have 2 on one day, we can get it switched, but it's a lot easier to do if you have 3 on one day. So say you have 3 finals on Tuesday, and that's a lot of work. That's a lot of finals to do. So you can go to, I forget what it is. It's probably the dean of something. Go to that person and say, "Hello, Mr., Mrs., what have you. I have 3 finals on this day, and I really would like to get it switched." And 9 times out of 10, they'll do it, because your teacher or your professor or whoever you have probably has more than one class and will be giving out another final. And so they can easily just say, okay, well, here, your professor is also having a final on this day, so you can just go and take it with her then. And that's, you definitely want to do that, because it's just good to not have so much work on one day. And let's see what else. I'm trying to think of anything else I can tell you guys, because this video is almost coming to an end. But I guess just the big thing, guys, just make sure you study well. That's key. If you study well, you'll be fine, trust me. I know you're all smart, because you're all my subscribers. But yeah, guys, good luck on all your finals. I hope you all do well, and hopefully I can help you out with some of these tips. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it helped you, and thank you for watching. Have a good day, everybody. Peace.
Brought the pain. Time to get paid.